Hey everyone, it's me, Whimsy, with Broke Aristocrats, and today we're going to have a conversation about breakfast, how we can eat better and more nutritiously in the mornings, particularly those of us who are either, number one, you're on a budget, and number two, you don't have a lot of time. So this is kind of a life hack, so to speak. If you are an imperfect person like me, and you're not uber strict about your diet, but you want to have a mostly nutritious diet, then I think one of the greatest things that you can do is to start with breakfast. Now, I'm somebody who doesn't really have much of an appetite in the morning. Breakfast has been a big struggle for me because usually I like to wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and I'm set. I used to put cream and sugar or half and half, and I would go, which is a horrible way don't try that. That should not be your breakfast. Having a cup of coffee, that's fine, but you really want to have more than just a cup of coffee in the morning. Most Americans, when they're rushing to work, their stomach is just waking up, they're tired, they really don't have a lot of time. This is why for my patients, when my patients come here to the office, I usually will prescribe that they have a smoothie every morning. And I'm assuming that my patients are imperfect people and that they're going to have cravings. They might go get a burger later in the day. They might go have some French fries or some fast food. Waking up in the morning and having a nutrient-dense smoothie that's rich in bioflavonoids and vitamins and minerals, etc., goes a long way. It goes a long way. Now, to give you a perspective about cost, if you were going to do the most expensive smoothie that I prescribe, it would still be a lot cheaper than fast food. It would be a lot cheaper because you figure that the average fast food quick breakfast, which is not even food, runs probably about $4 or $5, and I'm talking, it's probably going to be a lot more than that. But you go in, you get yourself a cup of coffee, you get yourself all those egg mixes and whatnot. It's bad news. You don't want to put that in your body. Instead, a smoothie, the recipe I'm going to give you, you could probably make it and clean up and be out of the house in 10 minutes. The initial investment probably is going to run you less than $100, but you're going to have 21 meals. So I think what happens to a lot of people, it's about perception. I will have them go and purchase stuff and then say, oh my gosh, I'm out $100. But you have to take that $100 and you have to divide it by 21 to give a perspective of how many meals you're going to be getting from a nutrient-dense smoothie. So my first pick, number one, cheap breakfast. This breakfast will run you approximately $3, not much more than that. It's up to you if you want to add stuff. So I'm going to give you my basic smoothie recipe that is Dr. Whimsy's infamous protein shake. And I'm going to name names. I do not work for any of these companies, but I'll tell you what companies I use. I like ORAC Greens by Paradise, and I'll tell you why. And ORAC is the measurement we use to determine something's antioxidant value. Its ability to remove free radicals or to neutralize a free radical. That is an antioxidant. So that is why we want to have something that has what we call a high ORAC value. So ORAC Protein Greens by Paradise, ORAC Protein Greens, you can get it on Amazon.com, is usually the one I go with because it's the cheapest nutrient-dense greens on the market. I think I've seen it sell for anywhere from $21 to $23 for a small container of ORAC Protein Greens by Paradise. I usually start my smoothie by doing 2 scoops. of the ORAC. And then to that, I get some frozen berries. Frozen berries, organic right now at Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. They're both running about the same prices, under $4 for 10 ounces. So if you're doing 2.5 to 3 ounces, you're going to run through one of those bags fairly quickly. If you can find a large bag of the frozen berries, you're probably going to be doing better for yourself. I don't know what's currently available at Costco if you buy large bags of things, but it does pay to go organic with the berries, because berries are a heavily sprayed crop. If you'd like to know my opinion about spraying and pesticides and environmental pollutants, then you can check the video I did before this one, which was on how to do an environmental assessment and risk factors associated with exposure to high amounts of man-made chemicals. So if you want to check that out, that is the video I did before this one. So it pays. If you're going with berries, you really do want to go with the organic berries. Like I said, frozen berries, a small bag runs you under $4. The large bags, if you can find them, probably a better deal. I like to go with 1/3 to 1/2 cup of frozen berries, and then I also will put an organic banana. Again, they're relatively cheap. Bananas have a skin on them, so if you're trying to save money and you can't afford to go 100% organic, then the banana doesn't have to be organic because it has a skin, so you should be okay. So I put in about 1/3 cup to 1/2 cup of frozen berries to my ORAC Protein Greens powder by Paradise. I then take some ground flax. The ground flax that I usually go with is from Spectrum. I like Spectrum, the company Spectrum's ground flax bag. I've got a large one from Amazon, relatively little money. And I put 2 heaping tablespoons of that. I buy it already ground. Some people ground their own. I can't be bothered, quite frankly. I'm a busy girl. I take 2 heaping tablespoons of that. I seal the bag and I put it back in the refrigerator so that it doesn't oxidize. If you have a lot of inflammation, if you have a lot of chronic pain, some doctors have prescribed fish oil. Make sure and check with your doctor to see if that's okay, because fish oil is a blood thinner. Also, understand that not all fish oils are equal. Some fish oils on the market are rancid, and some fish oils on the market various different heavy metals. So you want to really make sure that it's a high quality fish oil that has been molecularly distilled. A couple companies I like is Pharmax, Nordic Naturals are 2 companies I go with also. For the less expensive fish oils, I go with Natural Factors, which is a good company out of Canada, and it's a little bit more on the affordable end of the spectrum. But you don't have to put fish oil in your smoothie. That's just for people who may be suffering from a lot of inflammation, autoimmune conditions, that sort of thing. So that is the base of my smoothie. You can add other things as well. Turmeric powder also has some anti-inflammatory properties. We can't call it an anti-inflammatory because that's a class of medication that has to do with things like ibuprofen, naproxen. But we can say, because it contains certain chemical constituents, naturally occurring chemical constituents, we can say that it has anti-inflammatory properties. So it works very nicely synergistically with the flax and the fish oil. Flax oil is rich in omega-3s, which, as we've mentioned, like fish oil, it has anti-inflammatory properties. It's also a blood thinner, so you really want to check with your doctor if you're on a medication that's a blood thinner like Coumadin or Plavix, which is an antiplatelet type of medication. You really want to be careful about taking things that might thin the blood. If you are on Coumadin, turmeric and fish oil are contraindicated, so we don't recommend either of those. But you can still do a great nutrient-dense green shake like the one I'm recommending with the berries. Other things I like to add in addition to all of that is I like to add some unsweetened rice or almond milk. Some people can just add water. Non-fat or low-fat goat's yogurt. I like to do that. I get mine at Trader Joe's. It is a little bit on the pricey side, but probably a little bit healthier for us than the cow's yogurt, just because it's easier to digest. And people tend to do better with the goat's yogurts than they do with the cow's yogurt. I blend it all up and I run out the door with it. And here's a tip for anybody who has a long commute. Do not drink that smoothie and then get in that car. That is another life hack that is from me to you. You do not want to be stuck in that traffic desperately wanting to go to the bathroom because you just drank a 16-ounce Dr. Whimsy infamous smoothie and now you need a restroom. So instead, take your smoothie, put it in a storable container, get in the car, and then enjoy that long commute. And then, 15 minutes before you get to the office, you can start drinking that smoothie and feeling really great. So this is my affordable breakfast. If you say, Dr. Whimsy, that's way, way, way more money than I can afford. The other thing you can do that's really a fast breakfast is you can go with the thick cut or the steel cut oats. You got a bunch of kids to feed. Pour in some water in a pan, stick it in the refrigerator because you're a busy person and you have to get to work. In the morning, it will soften, cook it up, add some cinnamon. You can throw in some raisins. And if you want to add extra protein to balance your glycemic index, if you're worried about it having a little bit too much carb and not enough protein, you can put in a couple scoops of old-fashioned peanut butter. And then with a nice low-fat or non-fat milk, you can add cinnamon if you like, raisins if you like. That's an affordable breakfast for the family, and it usually runs probably 50 cents or less. Okay, that about wraps it up. Those are some quick, nutritious, fast, ready-to-go breakfasts. Try my smoothie. I think it's one of the best things I've done for myself, and I can tell you, just since I've been doing those nutrient-dense smoothies, sometimes I also will throw in, by the way, mixed greens. I go all wild. I do everything I just mentioned, and I'm linking below the recipe, so don't worry about taking notes. But I sometimes will also take a bunch of chopped kale and chopped Swiss chard and various different greens, and I throw that in there too. So we're talking about enough nutrition, enough antioxidants, enough fruits and vegetables to last me a long while throughout the day. So if I'm less than perfect, as I am, and I go and I enjoy a French fry or a taco or something a bit on the naughty side later in the day, I can at least be assured that I started my day with that great nutrient-dense breakfast, low-calorie, nutrient-dense. Okay, that is my life hack from Broke Aristocrats, Dr. Whimsy. Give it a try and then tell me what you think. I think that you will find that it balances your blood sugar, makes you feel good throughout the day, and if I can get you to not have breakfast at the fast food restaurant, then I will feel that I did some good in the world. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.